Hi everyone, I'm Brett from Run Queensland and you're on Sunday Runday. Today I'm joined by BTR, dare I say it, the new captain, or he'll explain that in a second, Jeff Russell. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Brett. And no, the captain moniker's been retired, so
Yeah,
Kerno can have that. There'll only ever be one captain. So
yeah.
at the moment, I haven't got an official title, but that's okay. Head honcho or whatever
Chief,
you want to call me.
Chief Commander.
Yeah, just Gus.
Yeah, the Gus. We'll get to that. Mate, thanks for joining us anyway. So, do you want to just give us the introduction of like who you are with Brisbane Trail Runners and how you got into it?
Yeah, Brisbane Trail Runners is what we're coming up to our 8th birthday soon this year. In October. So it was something that was started with a few people, with Steve Kernahan and some of his sort of mates that he used to run with locally, and he just wanted to sort of make it a bit more official and put runs up. And from that, BTR is now, I think we've got about 4,800 members throughout the world that follow our Facebook group, and that's basically what we are. We're just a social run group that exists on Facebook, and lots of people come and run with us and know who we are. And there's no official membership apart from being a member on Facebook.
I think it's pretty interesting when you look at that. I was just sort of popped into my head then about how you kind of can be a member when you say you're a member. There's not too many clubs in the world that allow that. That kind of, it's up to yourself to be a member and be a part of it. I know loads of you guys do loads of our runs and also help at our runs. But it's quite a friendly group, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, well, that's how it sort of started. It was just Steve and some of his mates, and from that it just grew. And like it's like a lot of the run groups, it's all different abilities are catered for. Like we say, we've got about 4,800 members, but I'd probably guess there's about 300 of those that are really active members that regularly come along for runs. We'd be in a bit of trouble if they all showed up on one run together, especially in these current times. But I think the largest run we've ever had, when we had about 92 runners from a run around the Nogra Reservoir a couple of years back. So sometimes those runs get a bit hard to manage those numbers, but we have a whole heap of different runners that run sort of throughout the pack and look after people, and nobody gets left behind. One thing that I sort of started doing a few years back, I came up with using talcum powder when we run. So we sort of put talcum powder arrows down on the ground, and that means that we don't have to stop as often.
yeah.
And those tail runs can keep following. And in fact, the funny story about that was we come around the corner once, and there was a bush turkey who was going just off his nut. He was just going around in circles as if he was high as a kite. And we had a close look at him, and his nose was just covered in talcum powder. So it's known as bush turkey crack now. It's
Yeah.
what we follow.
Getting off their heads while they're running. That sounds like
Yeah,
fun.
that's what the turkey was doing.
Yeah, so would you say most of your runs then are around the Brisbane area, mate? Will they predominantly be there?
Yeah, we try and keep them as much as we can to the Brisbane area. Because we're not an exclusive club as such. We still have a lot of our members and members of other clubs around the Brisbane area, and even as far afield as the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast. So we try not to encroach too much on those other clubs' areas during the week, but in these COVID times, interestingly enough, I'd set it up that we're going to have about 15 to 16 different runs around the Brisbane area. It was going to be sort of every morning and every evening there'd be a run in a different part of Brisbane. So all the way from White Rock out to Ipswich Way, out to Scribbly Gums, which is down near the bay, up north to Bunyaville, and then, of course, around Mount Cootha. We had some night runs around there, which Mount Cootha is our spiritual home of Brisbane trail runners. So yeah, unfortunately with COVID, we spoke to the government and it was just a little bit too cumbersome because our runs, as you said before, our runs are just that. It's someone's going for a run and they just say, oh, look, if someone wants to tag along, you're more than welcome to come with me. And some of those runs, when people are tagging along, you can get sort of anywhere from 20, 30, 40, 50 people. And it's just, in these times, it's just not worth the risk until things get back to a bit more normality. So
yeah, we're definitely finding that out with our with Rainbow Beach coming up, and all the stuff you've got to put in the background is quite a bit. But you know, I suppose that's what we do. So you know, you can understand when it's an unorganised thing why you would have to be mindful of that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we try and do that as best as we can, and obviously, at the moment, all we can do is encourage sort of private groups to go running. And example of that was, I had my mid-century birthday a few weeks back, and for that, I sort of did foolishly ran 50 Ks for my 50th. So. It was a bit disappointing. We were actually supposed to be down in South Australia. There's about 40 of us from BTR that were going down to run the Cleveland 50. It was on the Sunday, we were going to run that, and then on the Monday we were going to actually hire a bus and do a Adelaide Hills vineyard and brewery tour. Yeah. So that got cancelled. So then I just sort of got a small group together because I was only allowed 10 runners. Yeah, so we had sort of people tagging in and tagging out, and I ran 50 Ks around Mount Cootha. Yeah, and then I retired from 50K runs after that.
I actually was going to say, I believe that I've seen that that you're retiring for 50K running. I thought, yeah, that'll last a few days. So are you still retired?
Yeah. No, I'm going to become a sprinter now. So I'll stick to the shorter stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, just to mention with Kerno, just the shout out to him with what he did with BTR. Yep. I've got to tell you, I remember meeting him I remember the first time at the Kokoda Challenge on the Gold Coast. And my first memory of him is lying on a corner of a road with this massive cramp, trying to sort this cramp out. And it was fairly early on, and I thought, good luck with the rest of that race, Kerno. But yeah, I think they finished that race.
Well, that was actually my real introduction to Kerno as well. So I'd only just joined BTR that year at the start of the year, and Kerno had decided. Who was in the? I can't even remember who was in his group. I think Dale Coakley, Graham Whitaker, and I can't remember who the other one was. Anyway, so I decided to go on crew for them, and I got the phone call from Kerno. He was at Numinbar, I think, and he just cramped up and had to pull out. It was getting freezing cold. So I've had to drive the 40K round trip to go and get him from where we were waiting at Army Land. And I've got there and picked him up, and it's taken him a good 45 minutes to get into the car because every time he got in, he'd cramp up and fall on the ground and rolling around.
He was suffering, mate. I can tell you that. When I seen him on the floor, that's rough.
Yeah. So, but I've got a lot of empathy for him because that's my biggest problem always when I race is cramps. So I know the feeling well.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. So, what got you into trail running then?
Stupidity. I think I was a bit of
we're trying to get people into the races, don't you?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I was a road runner. Not a very good one, but it just didn't agree with my body, the impact on the roads. When I was at school, I was a 400-metre runner. So getting into this was a bit out of my comfort zone. And, I went along to a Brisbane trail run up Mount Cootha. I think it was a 5:30 morning run. And that was where I met Kerno and just become addicted. I think my first race I did was shortly after that. I think it was sort of I must have done that in January, and I think I must have done Biwa. Would have been your race was my very first race. It would have been, what would that have been? Beer at night, wouldn't it, or daybreak
Not a
in
day.
January?
Yeah, so I think there was a 50K back then. So yeah, there
No, I
was.
didn't do that. I know
Yeah,
I did the shorter one.
there was a 20 or
Yeah,
30, I think. Yeah.
yeah, I think I did the 20, and yeah, really enjoyed it. And even though I had to go through the dungeon, I was addicted. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just the camaraderie and the friendships. And look, the friendships that I've formed out of this is just incredible. Like we go away each year. I think BTR, we take groups away on trips. So we go to Surf Coast normally every second year. We had a group of people going out to run Larapinta, but that's been cancelled, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We had a big group, went to Tarawera over in New Zealand, been and done shot over in New Zealand. So it's one of those things where we do travelling. We've gone to UTA, so I remember
Yeah, well, I've
going
caught
to
up with
UTA.
you guys there. Well, I've caught up with you
Yeah,
guys at
well,
UTA, and we came out, I think, the night before we ran. And that was one of the things that I kind of got about the group. There was a real nice vibe about it, and there was a kind of a connection with everyone there, and there was guys that were fast and guys that were slow, but there was this real nice BTR vibe, I would call it, I suppose, with you guys.
yeah, and that's what it is. Like, we've got the faster runners. They'll finish their event. They'll go and sort of have a share, and they'll come back out and look after everyone. And it's a bit like that at Blackall. The guys that do the 50Ks, often they'll go and run. They'll have a shower, and then they'll come out to the checkpoint.
Yeah.
Be on the checkpoint all night. And
Yeah.
that's why it's the greatest checkpoint in the world. So.
Well, I was going to get to that. Before I get to that, I was going to ask another question. Why the Gus? Because I don't know if everyone knows it was Gus. I just want to know the Gus, what the story is behind that.
Yeah, Gus Warland. The Gus Warland's he's best mates with Hugh Jackman.
Oh, right.
And so through that connection, Gus Warland became famous for doing a show on Foxtel, which was he followed the Barmy Army around Australia when they came out, and he went and he did a documentary on that.
Yeah.
And he's also done subsequent ones, and now he's on radio in New South Wales. So, but there's a famous or infamous photo of Gus when he was training to run the New York Marathon. And as part of his fitness training, there's a shot of him coming out of the water at Bondi in his red budgie smugglers with his sort of big gut and everything. So Kerno and Brad Duncan, being the great mates that they are, labelled me the Gus.
Well, there you go. So when people come up and call you the Gus now at Blackall, they'll know why.
Yeah, and if they've seen the photo, they'll just shake their head.
I wish I had it. I mean, if I was good with the editing, I don't really edit this at all. So unless the computer drops out, we could get maybe someone to throw the photo in.
Well, I've got a framed photo of it in my bedroom that got given to me by the boys for my birthday. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, and I think they gave me that. 50 Mars bars and 50 bottles of Coke. So I'm renowned for doing 100 Ks on Mars bars and Coke. That's all my nutrition.
But you're retired now.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't need it now.
Hey, so that's greatest CP in the world is funny. I know there's that banter between you guys and Noosa. So do you want to mention how that came about? I mean, I personally think that the CPs are just probably the best in Australia, to be honest. I haven't seen too many. And the way that the runners are looked after and the connection with the runner and the checkpoints, it's always commented about. And that's probably the beauty for me of Blackall 100 is the way that everyone comes together. I know it's a massive BTR weekend and you guys are a massive part of the whole event, whether you're running it, volunteering, help setting up and all that sort of stuff. So Do you want to sort of mention a little bit about that, mate?
Yeah, well, it's sort of, I suppose in the early days when you first started up, most of us were running back then. And the checkpoint was, yeah, we started up. We had the checkpoint 4, and I think it was sort of only in the early days, so it wasn't as big as it's got now. And then those first couple of years, it started to just get more and more competitive with us and the Nutters. A friendly competition, of course, and that was mainly born about by the two captains, or, well, Andy Bowen's the vice captain, but he'll never be the captain. But by Kerno and he, just the banter that they had between them. And I think each year the ante just gets upped and upped and upped, and it's all friendly banter and stuff like that. And, Talana and I certainly are carrying it on. I was talking to her the other day about something, and we were giving each other a bit of stick about it even the other day. But I think it's just one of those things that all the runners in the past have all gone through checkpoint 4 twice and gone through checkpoint 5 twice.
Yeah.
This year will be very different, with the runners only coming through both the checkpoints the once.
The hundreds will come to you guys twice, though.
Oh, they will too, but we'll be kicking them off very quickly because they'll only have 7-8 Ks to go. So
heading home.
Yeah, but so it's one of those things where, look, it's just things like the food that's available. Like part of it, like I know Run Queensland supply a certain amount of food, but we just go over the top. Like I know last year when Dean Canazes come in, he was just about to go, and then out the corner of his eye, he saw some food that sort of he thought, oh, what's that? And he asked someone, and they told him, and he tried it and loved it. And he sat there for another 5 minutes just working his way along the table, because there's all this gluten-free free food that had been cooked and baked by various members of BTR, and just the atmosphere. Like, it's a big party atmosphere. We have it's our main event of the year, as you say. Everything's sort of tailored towards that. We've got a lot of people, a lot of our regular checkpoint people running this year, so it'll be a little bit different out there, but a lot of those guys will come out and come out to the checkpoint. Hopefully we'll get the recently retired captain, might get a leave pass and come up for the day, for part of the day at least, so he can say hello to everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always good fun and good banter.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dean Carnassus is still talking about it. I notice he posts every now and then still photos from the event. So it certainly had an impact on him. And I'm pretty sure it also had a impact on Brad Duncan. Didn't he have a lie down in his car or something for a while?
Yeah. I think Dean did. And I think Brad hasn't washed the blanket since. So,
I heard he's sleeping with it now, actually.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so based on that, have you got any events coming up? I mean, I know it's hard to even plan for one, but have you got anything coming up?
It's sort of hard to plan for them. And probably being shorter events that I have to look for now. So I don't know. There's only 50 and 100 at Blackall, so I don't know what
we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. You've been talking to us for a few years about different events, so we'll see what we can come up with, mate.
Yeah, well, that'd be good. But yeah, look, I'll just probably some of the local stuff. So we obviously we've got a lot of sponsors and a lot of different race groups. Part of our BTR stable that we help out and do checkpoints at those events as well, and some of them have shorter races. So so it might be some of those that I do just to keep the hand in and that. But my biggest thing now is just going to be doing the social runs and on weekends doing that. I think my partner Lou's off to do a race down in Victoria in February, so I'll go down and crew for her.
Yeah.
But I'll do a lot of the sort of long training runs with her in the meantime, and yeah, I don't think I'll get the bug again, but
Yeah,
you never know.
you never know. Yeah, that's right. Crewing's fun anyway. I love crewing. You just get to enjoy the moment. They just get to enjoy all the bloody soreness after it.
Yeah, that's right. And then, yeah, you can have a couple of beers and be rugged up and watch the pain and, yeah, push them on their way and go to the next one.
Yeah. So, what was I going to ask you there? Do you want to give a plug out to BTR Brisbane Trail Runners? How people can kind of get involved? I know it's a little bit quiet at the moment, but as it starts to ramp back up, what to look out for, where to go, and then we'll hit our final question, mate.
Yeah, it's probably the best place to look for us is obviously on Facebook, and follow the page there. There's a lot of like every Friday I put up a post which sort of says where are you running this weekend, and if people want company, they'll put a message up saying that they're open for people to join them, and you can sort of just private message and get details and get sort of groups together. Privately, a lot of our groups still do run together. Yeah. One of the beauties of BTR is probably a lot of the female groups that have sort of come together and run outside of BTR, and they'll sort of run during the week together and then run and train for events together. But they'll always come back and do the bigger BTR weekend runs just for the social side of it. As I said before, like, yeah, three of my best mates in Kerno, Brad and Rhino, that's how we all met, and the Wolf Pack, as we were called back then when we were all running. So it's quite embarrassing today. Brad and Rhino are now bike life is their latest slogan. So it's embarrassing actually, but.
Well, the other thing is too, mate, if I hadn't met you through Trail Runner, we wouldn't have been at Def Leppard and the Scorpions, mate. So come on.
That's right. Yeah,
mate, we wouldn't have been singing Def Leppard songs. So, we're pretty lucky. Come on.
Yeah, and anyone looking at you and I would think we wouldn't be the ones at Def Leppard, it'd be Gavin. So.
Yeah, for sure. And Motley Crue. Yeah. He could pass us into Neil.
Yes, yeah. Actually, when I saw him the other day, the first thing I thought of was Neil from the Young Ones.
Oh, yeah. You should have said that. Oh no, my party's having a row.
Yeah, and what was the other one? Vivian's the other one.
Oh yeah.
Vivian. What was that show?
Yeah, Vivian was off that as well. He used to have the stars on his head. He was the punk.
Yeah. So
anyway, I digress. Hey, so just before we finish up, my final question is: other than toilet paper, what can't you do without on the trail?
Coke.
Yeah, well, we've got to establish that. If you're going to do 100K, we know to buy extra Coke.
Yeah, Coke and Mars bars and Gus hugs.
Gus hugs. I'm not sure we can do those yet. We'll find out soon.
No, there's none of them this year, unfortunately. So yeah, but
might be like air guitar, but hugs.
Yeah, no, I think it's just the camaraderie out there and the people that you get to run with for short amounts of time and what you learn about them in such a quick amount of time. The last few years at Blackall, I've sort of actually gone up to the top of the bluff and done some live feeds of runners coming through, been up there with Stevie O'Keefe, who's the photographer.
Yeah.
And it's a great experience up there, just watching the pain as they're hitting the top of the bluff and they come around there and being told to smile.
I love that.
So, it's fantastic.
It is, mate. Well, mate, thanks for spending your Sunday with me and coming out for a run. Really appreciate it. And we really appreciate everything that BTR do for Run Queensland. We can't put on these events without you guys volunteering and being a part of it. And I'm really glad that someone's been able to pick up after Kerno's sort of moved away from it. So welcome to the new chief and commander, and thanks for spending your day with us.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no, he certainly left a great legacy for BTR to move forward, and we've got a lot to live up to. But we'll keep it going, and everyone, we'll see him at Checkpoint 4, the greatest checkpoint in the world.
Thanks, mate. See you there.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Bye.